My name is Jessica de Vreeze. You know me on Instagram with the handle @hopg. I am very glad to have a special guest today. His name is Walter. He represents TRIBAM HQ, and he's going to tell us more about this high social media app that I recommend. One second, let me invite him in. So I'm in Miami. He's in London. Hello, bonjour, hi, Walter.
Hello, Jessica.
So you're gonna see today it's like French accent and it's perfect.
Yes, sorry to everyone. Both of
Yeah,
us have lived in English-speaking countries forever and still have our strong accents, at least in my case.
yeah, but I think it's good. I think accent is perfect. It's a good thing to have. So maybe you would like to say your name yourself. I always ask people to do that.
Sure, my name is Walter Segara. Very pleased to be here. Thanks, Jessica, again.
Thank you. I love the backdrop behind. Is it a backdrop or is it a
You know what? It's a good way to do it. Very humbly, it's a picture I took myself in when I lived in New York,
Oh wow.
of the street around the corner from where I lived, and then if you see, I developed it as a symmetry to each other to do a bit of a geometric, feel to it. But yeah,
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. I love the shadows and the light and how it intertwines. It's
yeah.
beautiful. So you
Thank you.
see, that's always something in those lives. We discover many talents, more than what we expected at the beginning. So I was explaining that those live, I try to share people, small businesses, artists, things of somebody. Thank you, Steph. She loves it, and she's right. So yes, I want to share with the world people that something or do something that's meaningful. And you created an app, a social media app called TRIBAM. Why HQ? Is it just for the Instagram handle?
Exactly. Just because on Instagram, TRIBAM was already taken, so I did the HQ, but the name is just TRIBAM.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think so. Today we are on Instagram live, and it's a platform that kind of exploded. And most of us, I think I can really say most of us regret the past 2 years, the change that Instagram took in a sense that, hi Celia, that it's the algorithms are directing what we see basically, and it becomes even hard to see the people we follow because everything is kind of filtered and you have a lot of commercials or whatever. So I'm not going to be political and be against Instagram. It also has a lot of good things, and understand that it's a company, so they need to make money how they want. But I think we also need social media app that truly and genuinely allows us to share what we like, recommend places we love with people. And I guess this is what you're doing actually. So if you
Yeah, exactly. So maybe just if I, for those people not yet familiar with TRIBAM, just maybe summarizing a couple of words, what is TRIBAM? And then actually in your intro, Jessica, it's amazing. You've already touched on some of the key things which are the center of why we have launched TRIBAM in the first place, compared to some of the historical networks. So maybe I will come back on some of those points as well, if it's okay. But yeah, so TRIBAM is a mobile app, free, which allows every one of us to share and discover the things we love in life with the people we love in life. Right? So it's just a very positive, simple objective. So what we do in the day-to-day typically, which is share recommendations, hotels, restaurants, music, books, and films, so movies, documentaries, so all the nice things around us, and just share those with people we know, our friends, our family, and then the broader community. So very, very simple. But what is indeed a little bit different is that we try to do it in a way which is, a bit of a response to the way some of the historical social networks have evolved. And our mission is simply to put, trust at the center of the communities on TRIBAM. And I can explain, how we do that. But coming back to maybe a little bit of the reason, which is some of those historical networks. I mean, they all had a genuinely good intention when launched in the first place. When you think about the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the LinkedIns of the world, and they do serve a very clear purpose today. But in a given environment. And unfortunately, for some of them, I will not be too specific, but for some of them, their evolution had moved them away from the reason why some of us initially were looking for social platforms. I mean, when I look at my personal case, the reason why I joined Facebook in the first place, because of course I am on Facebook, was to be able to stay in touch with my friends, right? Like you, I've lived in different countries, and I simply wanted to keep in touch with my friends, with my family, and to share with them. The problem is that you open some of those networks today, and two things happen. One, you see a lot of things from people you don't know because the algorithms have decided what should be shown to you at any point in time. And actually, those go so far that even if one of your friends was to post something, you would not see it either. So not only you see things from people that you don't know on topics that you maybe not care about as much, but the posts from the people that you care about will not be shown to you because they don't have enough engagement. And that frustrates me immensely, right? So again, people have, values and principles. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but I have some values and principles. Like you, right? And like what you do with, and we love to talk about it with, ancient mothering would be amazing, because I love all those projects which try to use one value and put it at the core of what they do. And in our case, it's simply to go back to basics. Just allow people to share the things they love with the people they love, and trying to avoid some of the pitfalls of those platforms.
Yes, I like to say sometimes, I don't know, there had been some glitch, of course, with Instagram, but I get at a certain moment, Instagram decided to unfollow people I was not engaging enough with. So they they unfollowed my mother, they unfollowed my kids. I was like, okay, there is a problem here. And then I kept on refollowing, and they kept on refollowing me, and then it kept on unfollowing. And I said, what's happening? It's like ridiculous. So the point is, we want to see the people we want on the social media, and we want to share what we like and what we have in mind. So yes, we need a platform that allows us to do that, for sure. So, and you have users from all over the world, or how does it work?
Exactly. So it's been launched live for just about a year. So we're still at the very beginning of the journey. After having worked on it for about a year and a half before that, from when we decided to launch. And yet today, it's amazing. It's been mostly word of mouth, right? So just actually the power of connections. So of course, a lot of people from where some of our personal connections are. So in the UK, in France, in the US, Portugal. But then over time, I've seen people pop up in places like Costa Rica, Egypt, Australia, where I have no network there. So literally from all over the world. And then as well, you start to see people connecting to each other because, of course, they bring their friends, to the platform, and that's great to see. Which is the other, of course, value we try to bring to our members, which is for them to get recommendations from people who know specific places, right? So even though I may not know somebody who lives in Sydney, it is useful to know the places that person would recommend in Sydney, because she probably have a good idea of some of the nice or more unusual places.
No, no, it's like it's exactly that. And what I love also is the fact that it's a project, it's an app that goes beyond the borders. And I think we live in a world, a global world, and travel and everything. We move. Some of us don't move, but move a lot. And I love everything that is about connection between people. It's always what
Mhm.
I look. Hey, Jessica.
Yeah, and I think over the last year with the COVID, I mean, I see Stephanie who says Dubai. Yes, actually, there is actually Dubai has become our number 3 community, thanks to Stephanie and other people locally. That's quite amazing. Um, but yes, I think the last year has shown the value of community, right? So the value of being able to stay in touch and to share with the people we know, and that's why we think it's useful to try to provide a tool which allows people to do that, but to always give the control to the people. So if you want to only see things from the people you know, you can do that in TRIBAM. And the app is constructed to give the control to the user. So you can filter everything to only see recommendations, comments, from people you know in the app. If you want to, as a user, you can decide to see information from the broader community. But it's your decision, you, the user, the member. It is not imposed on you by the algorithm because we have some interest to show you this place or that place, in the app. So it's connecting people and giving people the confidence, the trust that what they see in the app is genuine. And the way we give them that trust is that we give them control of who they see the recommendations from at any point in time.
So I'm going to ask you a question a little bit more technical, but so your original work is not in that field at all, I believe. But so tell me a little bit of the journey of deciding to start an app, because an app is much more complex to start than a website. And from what I understood, I'm not super technical, but some little bit. And so I understood that, first of all, you need to update it much more often, and you have in the back of an app a lot more work than on a website. So tell us a little bit about that, if you can.
Sure. So you said that I'm not from that side of the world. It's probably the biggest understatement of of the discussion so far. For people on the live, I've spent the last 22 years of my life in investment banking, so totally not at all this space. But after having spent quite a bit of time in New York and London, decided to resign from the last bank I worked for at the end of 18, and start a new journey. And that journey had TRIBAM at the core of it for quite a while, because again, like some of the things I see you do, both with your project and actually those discussions, felt that I wanted to have a bit more of a direct impact on the people around me. And TRIBAM was a way for me to do that. The thing is, now transitioning to your question, it is a very technical thing, right? A mobile app or even a website, which was not my background. So I actually decided to do a coding bootcamp for about 9 months in 19, part-time, so which was 2 evenings a week and every Saturdays. Like you, I'm married with kids. I'm not at least in my case, I'm not young anymore, but that's the commitment I wanted to make to it. And that was amazing because I learned a lot through that. To be able to then work better with the developers I work with, in the app. In terms of choosing what a mobile app as opposed to a website, it's a very good question because there is no right or wrong. One of the values we try to have within TRIBAM is to have the experience as delightful as possible. So we say we have 3 principles. It's sharing recommendations in a way which is simple, transparent, and beautiful. And beautiful means that every time people use TRIBAM, we want them to really feel safe and feel delighted. It's easier to control the experience at a higher level in an app than on the website. in particular because we expect the people to use it mostly on their mobile. You know, well, that was before COVID, but the idea was people, wanting to go out, to a restaurant, to a hotel, or and wanting to find places easily on their mobile. And even though you can do very good things on websites on mobile, still a native app gives you that additional quality to the experience. So that's what we went for.
And that's interesting that you mentioned COVID. Of course, we live in COVID time, but so everything changed. And it's good that you have not only hotels and restaurants, but you have books and music and film. And so what did you see? I don't know if you have those data a little bit in mind. What did you see as what people were looking for? Was it more leisure that you can do from home, or was it more looking for what they can do after COVID or when they get vaccinated and can travel again?
Yeah. No, it's very interesting because we have, of course, aggregated data in the app. So we're able to track a little bit the way the community was using the app. And so again, we launched like a couple of weeks before the first lockdown in London. So for an app which was a lot about traveling and going out, not the greatest timing. Thank God we had books, movies, and music, and then you can literally see the evolution of the uses. So at the beginning, a lot more use and recommendations around books, music, and movies than we would have expected. Obviously, people were in lockdown. And then last summer, when things relaxed, in particular in Europe, you saw restaurants and hotels becoming a lot more active, through the summer, people coming back, and then you see the cyclicality. So like in September, huge activity, like you could almost like follow people coming back from vacation and wanting to record for their own benefit and for their friends, those places they had discovered on vacation. So you could almost follow where people went just to get their recommendations in TRIBAM coming back from vacation. And then, back to lockdown and people refocused on, documentaries, series, and others. And now you see people preparing for the summer. So you start to see again activity back in hotels and restaurants. So it's nice, but it's like any project, first it's an idea, you have a vision, you have, conviction, but then seeing actually thousands of people now use it, and being active in the app, commenting on each other, reposting, liking, is great because, it seems that the use is exactly as we expected.
That's great. And, I'm not going to compare, but there is an app called Yelp in the US that gives so basically they repertoriate the places and they give ratings and they have people writing, but it's not people we know, it's people don't know basically. And I think yours is really different in the sense that it is recommendation. The recommendation is at the center of everything. It's not the place that is at the center. It's the recommendation, and therefore the quality of what you will find as a recommendation. You are not going to lose your time looking for something that is going to be actually not good. You're going to find directly something that will be.
Yeah. So exactly. So two main differences. One is that. So again, we want TRIBAM to be a beautiful place. So it's a place to put forward things that you like and that you want to remember for yourself. Instead of having it, on emails or on the notebooks, you can keep it for yourself for your own recollection or share with people. If you don't like it, if you want to bash a place, go somewhere else. Don't go on TRIBAM. That's not the place for that. Yeah. And therefore, that's why we only have 3 ratings, which is, it's good, it's great, or it's fantastic. If it's bad, no need to recommend it. Just, don't recommend it.
Yes, it's very positive. Very positive environment. Exactly. And that's why, when we try to engage with our members to get, as much feedback as possible. And we do hear a lot that people feel safe in TRIBAM. It's like something that comes back regularly. And for us, it's one of the best compliments we can have because we want to be that positive place where you go. The second big difference to the Yelps or the TripAdvisors is that on those services,
you go to TripAdvisor for a hotel, you have 2,000 recommendations. Well, the problem is that you know none of those people. So what is good or bad for them may not work for you given your taste and your situation. Right? So first, it's difficult to interpret a rating for somebody you don't know because you don't know how to compare. The second, which is even a greater problem, is that recommendations have so much value because that's the way people consume things. That's the way you book a place because somebody has told you it's a great place to go to. But because they have so much value, then they get manipulated. And there has been a lot of academic research done on the fake reviews and fake recommendations on places like TripAdvisor, Yelp, Facebook, and others. On TRIBAM, you can see the recommendation from people you don't know, but you can control so that you don't see that. You can only rely on people you know to know the source.
But so what do you do if you have somebody who starts fake recommendation in TRIBAM? Did you address this? We don't need to go totally into the thing, but it's a question.
Yeah, and it's a very important question, right? And again, things like bullying or like all those like very negative behaviors we see on other platforms. So two things. One, if we centrally can identify it, of course, it's part of our terms of conditions, we will kick the people out very clearly. But the problem is that sometimes you may not know, right? You have somebody who's legit who may be paid by a hotel or which is fine, right? But then it's the members who will be able to filter out, because when you, Jessica, decide to only look at the places recommended by your friends and family, then that person who you don't know will just not show. So there's a natural, selection of the sources by the members themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And anyway, you diminish the by half, the risk, because you cannot de-recommend something. So that's all right.
Yeah.
And so if I would ask you, it's popping in my head. I hope you don't mind. But what is the like one of the best discovery you made with TRIBAM, like as a recommendation from someone?
Yeah. So on the traveling side, there are quite a few places which have come up, which I have flagged. So you can save in collections. So I have a collection for traveling, and one of them is a hotel in Croatia called the Little Green Bay Hotel, which I never heard of before. And then I went to their website. It's like a family run. It's a couple running a hotel in a small bay, which is green, right? The water is beautiful, a very small boutique hotel. If my friend who went there had not recommended it, well, one, I would never know of the place. And two, because I know who he is, I know that if he liked it, I'm going to love it. So as soon as we can travel with my wife, we said we're going to do a weekend. There's just the two of us. The kids will be, with the grandparents. And we're going to the Little Green Bay Hotel. So that's one example. Recently, Seaspiracy, the documentary, which you may have heard of now, or maybe not, but it's a documentary around, the issue with fishing and the impact on climate of that.
Seaspiracy.
Yeah, Seaspiracy. So again, somebody who I actually didn't know recommended it on TRIBAM. I looked into it, and that's on my list for the weekend. But it's great because it's both, again, things from people I don't know, but then a lot of things from my friends. But we don't spend that much time sharing our own recommendations, because when we see each other, we do other things, and I can very easily get their best places, through the app.
No, that's great. I said that I spoke with you once about that, and I know it's a little bit complicated, but we need to find a way to have artists work on it. Mm-hmm. Recommendation. I know it's not easy.
No, but certainly our objective is to broaden then the categories to more than those 5 for now, right? And yeah, because it's another thing. We think we want to focus where one-to-one recommendations have value, and actually art is a good example, right? As we discussed, because discovering artists is not easy. right? And as well, you want to trust the artist you're being recommended to, and that's where your community, your network could be a good way to discover and to share. So something that we're working on.
No, that's great. So if we would ask, I'm going to ask you, of course, to say everywhere you can be found. But if you would share like a dream or an inspiration with people, what would it be for today?
If we get to the place where we have people who can enjoy even more their community, right? So their friends, their family, because they're able to share all those beautiful things in TRIBAM. You know, getting that is what we want to get to. So just, you know, just going back to those basics, you know, interaction, just, you know, doing what we do in the real life, but facilitated by an app. That's the objective. And personally, I want to keep on discovering some of those amazing experiences that I've, you know, as a user, I've already discovered in the app. But certainly in the short term, because we're still young, you know, we are growing. Like any young project, we're growing fast. So I think our numbers of members went up 50% of the last 2 months, which is great, and there's more to do. But would urge everybody to have a look at the app. You know, for now it's only on iOS, so iPhone and iPads, not yet Android, soon. But TRIBAM recommendations in the App Store, and just join us would be great.
So what would you, I'm going to ask you one more thing. What would you say as a byline, you know, about this new journey you took? Like, I mean, we spoke about a lot of things, but it's an adventure. It's a beautiful adventure, and that has that can grow even more, and that will grow even more, I believe. But so first of all, I guess you didn't even think you would start something like that if I had spoken to you like maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So something about that to say, because I know that all the like I decided to invite you in because you are making a difference as a person with an innovation. You're a small team. I mean, I don't know exactly how many people, but and I think we need people to share their passion. We need people to try new things, and that's what makes life more beautiful. And we need to give more visibility to people like you, because we live in a world where, you know, like I finally love Starbucks because in Florida it was so hard to find those nice little coffee places. There is one in Coconut Grove. I'm going to put it on TRIBAM that is called Panthère Cafe, that has amazing coffee, or even some places with Cuban coffee. But basically, when you're out of a big city like New York or something, and you look for a coffee, if you don't want to drink water, brown water, you need to find a Starbucks. And the sadness of that, in the other hand, is that there is Starbucks everywhere. There are chains everywhere, and we need to preserve small business. We need to preserve. Well, we need to preserve originality in a world where chains are coming everywhere. You know, like hotels, restaurants, like chain, and yeah. So yeah, I'm happy to encourage and I know that when I spoke with other speakers, there is a lot of work involved. People have to realize there is always a lot of work, but it's worth it. So maybe you want to say something about this adventure. Sorry, I spoke a lot. But
No, but it's great. So actually, because something else crossed my mind. So the byline I will come back to in a second, but just what you were saying now about, you know, us collectively supporting the, you know, some of our local businesses, and what I've seen happening in TRIBAM during COVID, which was your earlier question. What we saw were people recommending the places just where they live, right, as a way to almost like shout out to those places so that they are known, and people, you know, try to well discover them and keep them going as much as possible. And because we saw that happening in the app, we launched a bit of a thing which we called love your locals, and we were like reposting on social media, because it's a great way to reach people, some of those small places which we were seeing recommended in TRIBAM. So those which were delivering when delivery was available, and just to help those small restaurants, small cafes, because unfortunately, I don't know for you in Florida, but for us in London, we've seen quite a few close down around us, and that's heartbreaking, because those are the places we've been to so many times. It's the places where our kids have gone to so many times, and we want to help them as much as we can. So just a way for TRIBAM to be used for that as well. The byline, I would say, is follow your conviction. And what I mean by that is it's a very personal thing, which is a bit strange for a 22-year long investment banker to be personal. But if you have a conviction, we shouldn't spend too much time second guessing if there is potential or not. If we have conviction, we should feel that we're going to be able to communicate it, and there will be other people who share the same conviction. Again, that's why I'm super happy to be here, because over our discussions, I try to look at some of your work, and again, Angel Mothering, what you do for mothers and women, it's very clearly not driven by an agenda from your perspective. It's just because you have a personal conviction which seems to resonate personally, and it comes across, right? And therefore you're able to build something on the back of it, because people with the same conviction, follow you, right? And my conviction is that conviction-based businesses are those who are going to succeed in the future. Would they be huge, medium, small? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is to be able to deliver on our conviction and try to have some impact. And hopefully people will still see that as useful.
And to be true to, so in 2 words, is to be true to ourselves and to others. And it's very interesting, because I had speakers from many different fields, So this week I had someone who's did a book and a way to look for answer and plan your future through tarot and ancestor. It was funny, because I realized that you also work on the past, present, future, basically, of people with this app, in a way, because it helps people to save their past, preserve their past, decide on their present, and dream of their future.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever, every speaker I invited, every person I have invited, I can see authenticity, courage to follow their conviction, and a lot of passion. And that is, I am so happy, because it's like I decided to do like 6 live per month, and I'm like already planning July, because it's people like this exist. It's a blessing, and I'm so happy to be able to share it with the world, because it's a good news for us all.
Yeah, and it's amazing to have people like you who give people like us the ability to share our convictions with the broader community. So thank you for that.
And thank you for your nice comments on Unchained Mothering. It's the start of this project, and we will hear more coming. It's coming.
And actually, I looked at one statistics for you, which is even though TRIBAM is for, of course, people of all genders and backgrounds, I was going to say for some reason, I think there's a very good reason for it, but we tend to have quite a large female community. Actually, over the beginning of the year, more than 2/3 of our members are female. I think one of the reasons is that in couples, women tend to be the ones preparing the vacation, so maybe the reason. But to my point earlier around a safe environment, for me that's the real reason. The real reason is that when people get into the app, they don't feel overwhelmed, threatened, or even less so bullied by anyone, and hopefully that's a positive to the community.
I have a crazy idea in my head, but so I'm going to share it because I think it's a good. So basically, on my Instagram, the funny thing is I have more men following my Instagram than women somehow. I don't know why, but it's like that. And I thank every person that is following me, and I think it's great. Thank you so much. But the thing is, if you we were discussing yesterday. I went with three girls to the Soho. Miami is another place. Huh? It's like Miami is very much alive. The governor did an amazing job, and they did shut down for like 3 months, but they kind of bounced back, and everything is open. It's sometimes a little bit more too crazy because like we had spring breaker that kind of killed beaches, killed everything. Like not too much respect. Not every spring breaker, but if you see the stage of the beaches after a month of spring break, it's like you want to cry. I don't know how they're going to clean that up. But anyway, all this to say that I went to the Soho Beach House Club yesterday for dinner with three other girls, and we were discussing apps, and we were discussing also the evolution of the dating apps. It was absolutely not for me. It was for a girl that is newly arrived and single and was at our table, and I was thinking maybe in the future, if you have a lot of men and a lot of women, you will have a little thing like, person I recommend, don't go through a dating app. I found the perfect husband for you. I'm joking. But it's a crazy idea.
No, but you know, because that's the thing about communities is that it can also be a way for people to discover each other. But again, because I think there's a lot of value to help people meet each other, be it for dating or even like just like social meeting.
Yeah, of course.
But we're working on it, but it's going to take more time because we want to do it in a way which is again as safe as possible. But yeah.
But imagine 1 second. I know it's not the intention of the app, but if for any reason one person loved the same recommendation as another, like I have met many people through Instagram on a work perspective, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of artists I have found. I have found, yeah. So, okay, I'm not going to say you should meet stranger like we tell our children, you know, like don't answer to, no, I'm joking. But anyway, the point is, if, for example, one person have loved like 100 recommendation, the other one have loved 100 recommendation, you might even have a group starting a discussion and they discover that they can be friends basically because of the same.
No, absolutely. And the way, when we're working on this for us, the important thing again is to give the control to the users. So then, you know, you offer to them to be introduced to it, to somebody else without, of course, disclosing who it is yet. Each of them will need to agree to it, and then they are introduced, as opposed to what we see sometimes where you're being pushed, you know, in front of people that you don't want to have anything to do with. But I think there is still a lot of work to do in general around facilitating communities, interactions, because at the end of the day, that's one of the most important things we do every day in our lives, right? Both professionally and personally. And I think technology can absolutely help doing so. Just being mindful now of some of the pitfalls we've seen other platforms fall into, which have led to exactly the opposite.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, so I'm going to thank you so much for being here and sharing. First, I thank you for creating this app. Then I thank you for coming in live with me and sharing it with everyone else. And for those who don't know the app yet, so you can follow the account on Instagram and social media, but you can just download the app and look for yourself. You're going to be happily surprised.
Jessica, thanks a lot for having me today. It was great to be able to chat with you. Hopefully interesting to some of our audience as well. And again, keep on doing what you do with the same energy, the same genuine, you know, smile. It's amazing. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And so it was Walter in London and me in Miami. Yes, thank you, social media, for that. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jessica. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is